So I actually scheduled this live to be at noon today because in my mind, I had a 1 o'clock appointment with a client. Unfortunately, hey Leela, unfortunately, the client is on Eastern time. So I double booked myself, right? So I ended up double booking myself. So this is a little bit behind because I spent about an hour and a half on the phone with the client getting some business done, right? But yesterday talking to a good friend of mine, talking to my guy, because we were like, we're going to visit different uh, African American owned restaurants. Okay, so not sure why there's a delay on YouTube. But anyway, was planning to go to some African American owned restaurants and happened to a couple weeks ago drive past Soul Crab. I've been following and a fan of Darius Williams almost for years and years and years. I'll never forget. I was working at BET Black Entertainment Network back in 2009, and he had posted on Facebook that he had had a weird dream, and I actually interpreted his dream for him, which was interesting. So we both attended. I don't have any inside track on him. That's not, the purpose of this, but we did attend the same church. I have been or was a member of Mars Hill Baptist Church once upon a time. And I know Darius was here in Chicago a few months back and he went to the church or whatever, right? But since his cupcake days, right? I've been following him since his cupcake days. He used to make cupcakes and he would mail them and ship them. And then he started making cupcake mix. I don't know if anybody remembers, he had a cupcake shop here in Chicago. Then he moved on to another city and state, working and different things like that. Dining with Darius Cooks was birthed. I always wanted to go, but it seemed like he used pork and everything, and I'm not really big on pork. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna go. But when Soul Crab came, deep fried crab legs, food in general, right? Sign me up. Sign me up for that. Sign me up. So, want to talk about taking risks and having to pay, right? So, when we take risks, because on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we usually track, and I say take risks and prosper, right? But today is take risk and pay. When we take risks, we have to take mitigated, we should, not we have to, you don't have to do anything. We should take mitigated, calculated risks, right? We should take mitigated, calculated risks. So I did not watch the live video that he made yesterday, stating mental health, but I did see his Instagram post about it. And we never know what people are going through. We never know what somebody else is going through. We can never judge what they're going through, right? If I think about Michael Jackson and some of these other celebrities, you think, oh, you have it all, you have this money, you have this life. And, for Michael Jackson, it was just the need of wanting to sleep or whatever issue somebody may be going through. So, money does not help with our mental health, mental illness, or anything like that, right? But take risk and pay. So one, if you're here, let me hear you say good afternoon, say hello, press the like button, press the love button, and I'll get into the lessons that I'm going to share based on Darius Cooks Williams experience, right? Based on Darius Cooks Williams experience, I am going to share some things, right? So let me know you're here. Say hello. Press the like button, press the love button for me. And we're going to talk about taking risk and how when you take risk and you don't do some things properly in decency and in order, it can cost you, right? It can definitely cost you. I got a lot going on here, right? It can definitely cost you. So, and feel free to comment, chime in if you so choose, right? So the first thing I want to take away from this, from what I know about him, hey. From what I know about him, apparently he was a smart man, right? You cannot be, hi, Lavetta, how you doing? You cannot be non-smart or whatever, right? To open up businesses and do different things like that. So I have a few takeaways that I want to talk about. I have about 8 of them, but we'll start with the first 3. So the first takeaway is being smart and having money isn't always enough, right? Being smart and having money isn't always enough. What do I mean by that? So at the core of what I'm talking about today is the fact that Darius Cooks Williams was running a credit repair business. He started a credit repair business. The credit repair business apparently can be very lucrative because there are a lot of people who are doing credit repair. There are people who I feel like I know, like, and trust that do credit repair, who are really knowledgeable about credit, the laws, the rules, and different things like that, what one can and cannot do, right? And then there are people who they may just be credit repair agents who work for an organization and they don't really do the credit repair. Then you have people out here that are kind of scamming people, right? So credit repair is one of those industries that kind of has a bad rap. Same thing in real estate. You've had people that scam people. I read a man bought a plot of land in an auction. He thought he was getting a whole house, and the actual state of Florida or whatever county it was like, well, you should have did your due diligence, right? So anything can happen. Not trying to say or imply that Darius Cooks was a scammer. Hey, Leanne, how you doing? Not trying to say or imply that, right? But the first thing I want to take away, I want being smart and having money isn't always enough when it comes to business and conducting business. When I think about it as a real estate professional, my clients will try to tell me how the process should work. And it's like, I'm the professional. I went to school or whatever. I got this license, right? I have this experience and knowledge, and what I don't have, somebody else I know has it. Let me do my job, right? Second takeaway, research the requirements, because a lot of this could have been avoidable. Research the requirements before you start a business, right? Research the requirements before you start a business. That man at the auction was just careless, unfortunately. It was like an online thing, though. It's so crazy. So they posted the dimensions, but the picture included a house. So the man thought he got a house, and he paid like $10,000 or $15,000. This was in like Florida or something. But to your point, being careless, right? Not doing your due diligence. So he saw the picture. In his mind, he decided, I'm gonna make all of this money, right? And hey Quincy, how you doing? I'm gonna buy this property for this little bit of money, and didn't do his due diligence, right? So that's where I started with being smart and having money isn't always enough, right? You want to research the requirements before you start a business, And that's what it was. All money is not good money, right? I'm not saying I'm not saying what somebody should or should not do, right? I did see a comment like a chef doing credit repair. No one is saying you can't cook and do credit repair, right? But so many of us want to have our hands in so many different pots, right? When I choose a business or something that I'm going to be involved in, it has to make sense for my brand, right? It has to make sense for my brand and my business. Now, it could have been that people, because he had so many followers, are reaching out to him asking about credit repair. So it's like, man, let me jump into this credit repair business, right? That could be what happened, but goes back to research the requirement before starting a business. If you Google credit repair in Georgia, one of the first things that's going to come up is that only attorneys and not-for-profits can do credit repair. Now, one of my bays in credit repair is Natiba Hurd. I've been following Natiba Hurd for about the last 5 years ago or so. So I knew from her that it was not legal to do credit repair in Georgia because clients would reach out to her and she would let them know she could not service anybody that lives in Georgia, right? Leanne said, definitely agree on making sure that your businesses make sense for your brand. Marcia says, yeah, unfortunately, credit repair business in Georgia can only be run by nonprofits and attorneys. Exactly. And this is something I knew before he got into the credit repair business. And this leads into my next thing. But again, I knew that from being connected to Natiba Hurd. She does credit repair. She goes to FinCon. Like, this is what she does. She studies her craft. This is what she does. She has built a business. I encountered her in 2015. It's 2020. Her business has continued to grow. She helps people as far as buying a house, telling them, you can do a CPN if you want to. You can be added on to somebody else's credit, but just know that when it comes time for the mortgage company to pull your credit, that's not going to count, right? So when I think about her, I know she's somebody that's operating within the law and has integrity when it comes to the credit repair business. But here's the thing, right? Darius did not think he was doing anything wrong, right? So I went on his website, Above 701, right, was the website for the credit repair. I went on the website for Above 701, and it stated on the website that the company was based in Houston, Texas, right? So the company's mailing address is Houston, Texas, right? Okay, so you're thinking, why Georgia tripping on him, right? The website also says that they cannot service Georgia residents. So that leads me to know that he knew doing credit repair in Georgia was illegal, right? The really successful ones in Georgia are legally under the umbrella of an attorney. They are attorney-based companies with attorneys on staff. Yes, because, and Georgia has its reasons for that, right? Now, let me go back. Above 701, website states that the company is based in Houston. It also states that they cannot service clients in Georgia. Marcia asked, when did he update? You know what? I spoke with someone who said that when they reached out to him about getting their credit done or whatever, he did make it clear that he could not service Georgia clients. So he always made it clear, to my understanding, that he could not service Georgia clients. However, I did some research. So that's why when I came up with this topic, I'm not one for mess, I'm one for education, right? So, doing business, right? Doing business in a state. So for all intents and purposes, you look and see running a credit repair business in Georgia is illegal. Cool. So I'm going to establish my business in Texas, right? I'm going to file my articles of incorporation. Not saying he did this, but let's say he did. I'm going to file my articles of incorporation in Texas. And I'm not going to service Georgia clients. So therefore, I believe I'm acting within the law, right? That's just like people that say, oh, well, if you're in Illinois, incorporate your business in Nevada or Utah, right, to avoid taxes. It sounds good, but we need to talk to attorneys. We need to talk to CPAs. We need to talk to people that understand tax code, right? So I looked it up. What does it mean to do business in a state? Doing business in a state includes the following activities: having a bank account in the state, selling through a distributor, agent, blah, blah, blah in the state, maintaining an office in the state, owning real or personal property in the state, transacting business or holding meetings in the state, right? So if you live in Georgia and you have a bank account in Georgia, if you own property in Georgia, if you hold any meetings in Georgia regarding your business, hey, Nativa, love for you to chime in if you can. If you sell anything in Georgia, you're doing business in Georgia, right? If I start a business and I incorporate my business in Nevada, but I'm doing transactions in the state of Illinois, I'm still doing business in Illinois. Illinois still wants money. They still want tax revenue because I'm doing business in their state. I'm still doing business in Chicago, right? So a lot of us incorporate, we get an LLC, but we don't go and get a permit, or we don't go and get a business license for the city and state that we're actually doing business in and transacting business. You have to go through the full process, right? And that's where people miss out. Marcia said, wait, bank account, personal or business. Property is personal or business related. Nope, it says real property or personal property, right? So, well, you're in real estate, so I don't have to explain that. It says if you own real or personal property, right? I literally looked up, what does it mean to do business in a state, right? And am I 100%? I just did this research today, right? But doing business in the state, if you have a bank account in the state, if you're selling through a distributor, maintain an office, own real or personal property, transacting business or holding meetings in that state, they consider that doing business in that state, right? So, great. On your website, it says Texas. Great. On your website, it says you don't service Georgia residents, but for all intents and purposes, your social media, your home, and see, this is where people, we're so, hey, Rashada, how you doing? We're so, we like to share it. It's clear you live in Georgia. Right? It's clear you live in Georgia. Marcia said, dang, so basically if your body is here, you're still doing business here. Yes, because even if he's on a computer, he's in Georgia, right? So you're doing business in that state. If I go to Indiana and sell a life insurance policy to somebody in Indiana, when I fill out the thing, it's gonna ask me, what state did this business transaction happen in? It's going to ask me that. Hey, Shazzy. And I would put Indiana. If I go to North Carolina and I sell an insurance policy, the application asks me, what state was this business transacted? It even asks me because this client, oh my gosh, his business is in Virginia. His home residence is in North Carolina, but he's a truck driver. So he's in Illinois, Wisconsin, or etc. So he met me in the online space, and then we met up here in Illinois to conduct business. It's like, what the hell is going on? So you're saying you're selling this policy in Illinois, but the person lives in North Carolina, but they're using a Virginia mailing address. What's going on, right? Even that system. So if you do, wherever you're doing business, you're doing business, right? Leanne said, what about if you maintain dual residency, asking for my future? Wherever you're at when you're doing business, you're doing business. So you can't move to Georgia and do credit repair, for example, and say, oh, but I live in Illinois. Okay, you were in my state conducting business. So when you conduct your credit repair business, take your behind out of Georgia. The other thing is, like, being smart and having money is enough. I've seen a couple people have said that they reached out to him and told him, stop it, right? That's the other thing when it comes to having money and being smart. One of the young ladies that said that is from Chicago. She said, she posted on a Facebook post, she said, I used to go in his cupcake shop and I would flirt with him. And then he let me know, girl, you flirting with me, you know, you barking up the wrong tree. So when he started the credit repair business or whatever, I guess she slid in his inbox or whatever and let him know, you know, in Georgia, you might not want to do that, right? And he basically dismissed us. So sometimes we can be too smart for our own good, but nothing about this video is trying to beat up on him, right? Right? Nothing about this video is trying to beat up on him at all. This is saying when we take risks, sometimes we're going to pay if we don't do our research and do our due diligence. Another woman stated, she was like, only $145,000. I know a company that has to pay $1 million in fines and penalties and restitution for having a credit repair business here in Atlanta. So he, you know, he probably got off easy, right? Leanne said, entrepreneur life is expensive. Entrepreneur life is expensive, right? It costs our time, money, and other things. But now I want to give you 5 tips to protect your small business. Now, what happened? Me and Leanne were on her post, and there, to me, the language is kind of vague. So in the court judgment, it said that above 701 had to cease and desist all businesses in Georgia, right? Some are interpreting that to mean not only the credit repair business, but any business. To me, that would be above 701, the credit repair and the restaurants would have to be under that above 701 umbrella, right? Because the first company I worked for, the people started businesses, bankrupted them, and started new businesses without a problem. But again, it wasn't Georgia, it was New Jersey. The South can be a little strict, right? So, but the document says cease and desist all business. Does that mean shut down restaurants? I don't know. Does that just mean cease and desist all credit repair business? I don't know, right? We don't know. People have mixed feelings and emotions about what has been said. For me, logically, in my mind, my thoughts, my opinion is that I was just watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and we're going to get to the 5 tips to protect your small business. If you're ready for tip 1, put a 1 in the comments for me. For me, I was just watching Real Housewives, right? Candy and Ty have Old Lady Gang. Now Todd is looking to open up a Mexican version, Ole Lady Gang of the restaurant. So he's looking to open like 2 or 3 different restaurants right now, that are in the works. And Candy is like, you know, start a little slow, maybe one at a time. You know, the market, there are things that are happening, maybe we should slow down. And he's like, no, everything is good. Because that's one of the things like Leanne said, she was like $145,000 to him isn't nothing. Could be, could not be. When you open up 3 restaurants in 2 different cities, that costs money, right? And some of us foolishly use our own money. Not saying I know anything about this man's life. I'm not saying that, right? But sometimes we'll foolishly say, I got money, I'll use my money. No, if I have money, I'm going to go use somebody else's money. I show people how to use other people's money, right? If you have $500,000, go borrow $500,000 because you know you can pay the $500,000 back, right? Am I making sense? 5 tips to protect your small business. The first tip, and I saw this in an article on Investopedia, right? First tip is watch what you say and do, right? And we can apply that to Darius. Watch what you say and do. Watch what you say and do. As a real estate professional, I can't always say what I want to say about certain things. As a licensed life insurance agent, I can't always say and do what I want to do. I cannot say I am a financial advisor. I cannot say that because I am not a financial advisor. I am a licensed life insurance agent. I can say I am a financial services professional, right? But I cannot say, write, imply that I am a financial advisor. I'm not a financial analyst, none of that, right? I could get in trouble for that. Leanne said he did use his own money. He didn't have any investors per him. That's the worst thing. Unless you have, and I'm going to stay right here for a minute. Grant Cardone has a video. He literally says, in America, and I know this is going to sound far-fetched for most of us, he was like, in America, $1 million is not enough. $5 million is not enough. You need at least $10 million as a business owner professional to ensure that you and your family are protected against lawsuits because people sue. People can sue for anything in America. I slipped and fell in your house, I'm gonna sue you. I slipped and fell in your restaurant, I'm going to sue you, right? So we have to protect ourselves. So the first thing is watch what we say and do. Second thing is hire a competent attorney. When we start talking about opening businesses, starting businesses on that type of scale, when you have restaurants and you have a brand and a name, you should have an attorney on retainer. You should have multiple attorneys on retainer when it comes to your business. So to Leanne's point, there are expenses that go with being an entrepreneur. You should have an attorney. Hiring an attorney would have, so one, hire the professional and actually listen to the professional. Hiring a professional, the credit repair business would not have even been on the table. Especially when he's in Georgia and he is the face of the business. That was a thing. He didn't have to be the face of the business. He's in Georgia. He's the face of the business. He's telling people he's doing credit repair. So to Georgia, you're doing business in Georgia. You have a bank account. He bought a house. You're doing business in Georgia, right? Almost every time you're talking about credit repair or something, you're doing business in Georgia. We can be smart, we can have money, and we can still be unwise, right? So first tip to protect your small business, watch what you say and do. Second tip is to hire a competent attorney, right? Third tip, if you're ready for number 3, you want to make sure people are still here, put a 3 in the comments for me. Somebody, anybody, any questions, comments? That's it. Didn't have to be the face of the business, right? Partner with an attorney. It could have been above 701, Houston, Texas, whatever. first of all, hiring an attorney would have said, would have advised how to properly set it up. And then we don't all, I'm like, you don't always have to be the face of your business, right? But I'm not, this is hindsight being 2020, but really doing this live, talking to anybody who is an entrepreneur or thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, right? So the third thing is separate yourself from your business, right? Definitely a teachable moment. Thank you. Separate yourself from your business. What does that mean? A lot of us starting out, we may start our business sole proprietor. That means we are married to our business, right? If somebody sues my business, they are suing me. Whatever I own, they can come after, right? You can put your business, one of the ways to separate yourself from your business is to put your business in a trust, right? Another way to separate yourself from your business is to incorporate your business, right? But when you incorporate, like LLC, S Corp, C Corp, you have to mind certain business practices to ensure that you are separate from your business completely, right? So it gives you a layer of protection. It doesn't mean that a lawsuit can't pierce that corporate veil, but at least there is a layer between you and your business, right? So with that, it also said if there are directors or officers in the business, you can get director and officer insurance. So you can insure the directors and the officers of your business. So if there is a lawsuit, it doesn't affect their personal property or their personal finances, right? When we're talking about being entrepreneurs and doing business, the first thing we have to do is treat our business like a business, right? I have an LLC, right? And I just set it up. Now that we moved over to Compass, the checks for my real estate business go to my LLC. I drive Uber, Uber pays my LLC. I drive Lyft, Lyft pays my LLC. Jamisi is your name, not making no money, okay? I'm not making $1. Maybe if I do something on PayPal or something like that. Brandy said, I'm surprised he didn't properly structure. I think he thought he did, and I know you came in a little late. It appears that he thought he did what he was supposed to do. So on the website, don't know when it was updated, just went on there today. It said that the business was based in Texas, and it made it clear that the business did not service Georgia residents. However, that does not mean you're not doing business in Georgia. And hiring an attorney would have helped with that. Like I don't know if Charmaine is still here. You know, there are some things that I can read, but sometimes legal jargon, it can be interpreted, right? It can be interpreted. That's why we have the Supreme Court and all of this, there's a whole branch that interprets the law, right? They interpret the law. Jamisi, I have no money. You are so right. Yes, somebody just posted a quote. It said, control everything and own nothing. Control everything and own nothing. I was just talking to one of my clients. I said, listen, I've been telling you, put your building in an LLC. Well, why should I do that? Because I said so. No, but I'm like, you have a building, you have other properties. If somebody sued you right now, they would put a lien on every property that you own, everything in your name. Something happens at your building and a child or something is hurt, they sue you, and then they win $500,000. It's a lien on every property that you own. It's not just a lien on the property that you bought. So for real estate investors, every property you purchase should have its own LLC, right? If he had an attorney, the attorney, girl, if you Google credit repair in Georgia, just Google it, it's gonna say, right? Credit repair is illegal in the state of Georgia unless you are an attorney or a not-for-profit organization, right? So what probably happened was the attorney said, now all professionals are not created equal. All real estate agents aren't created equal. All loan officers aren't created equal. Life insurance agents are not created equal. Marcia is a real estate agent as well in Georgia. So to Marcia's point, that does not mean he can solicit the right type of attorney, because literally I'm like the Google queen. Had he just Googled, right? So if I read credit repair in the state of Georgia is illegal unless I'm an attorney or a nonprofit, right? You can go to like we have a business center here in Illinois. I'm just thinking about all the things that could have happened before, but Jamie, and I don't know if you're just coming in, the business on the website, it says was in Texas, and it said that he didn't service Georgia clients. I don't think that he or his attorney understood, unless you are an attorney or a nonprofit organization, you cannot do business in the state of Georgia as credit repair, period, right? And if you go back and watch from the beginning, I included what it means to do business, because that was my first, so the way my mind works, right? So you cannot do credit repair business in Georgia unless attorney or nonprofit. So the next thing I Googled was, what does doing business in the state mean? Right? What does doing business in the state mean? So I looked up what doing business in the state means, and it's like, okay, bank account, house, yeah, nope, right? So I just, it's too Googleable. Not saying I won't make mistakes or anything like that, but this one here is just too Googleable. Bree Nicole said, but can't you have an LLC series that allows you to have multiple LLCs under one umbrella? So Saturday, February 22nd, for free, if you want to come out to Wine, Welcome Whiskey, or if you want to contact attorney Shara Kamal or anyone of the sort. She helps people do LLCs, S corps, break it all down. She also helps with trust and wills. So she'll be at our Wine, Welcome Whiskey event on the south side of Chicago. So saying that to say, I am aware of series LLCs, not sure if that would be the best option, right? You buy a property, paid $150 LLC. A lot of properties that I see with LLCs, the LLC name is actually the address of the property, right? And that's me being on the inside of real estate. So it could be 5200 West Washington LLC. Next property gets its own LLC. Every property gets its own LLC. The event is in the evening from, it says 4 to 7 on the flyer, pushing it back to 5 to 8. There is a flyer on my Facebook page. And if you follow me on Instagram, the flyer is on Instagram as well. Number four. Fourth tip. Are we ready for number 4? Put a number 4 in the comments for me. So 5 tips to protect your small business. 1, watch what you say and do. I gave an example of myself in the fields that I'm in. 2, hire a competent attorney. So that's the thing, right? Nope, the event is free, Chazzy. Free event, free. Hire a competent attorney. And this is what the site said, competent. It didn't say just hire an attorney. Hire a competent attorney, right? Like Marcia said, just because you hire a lawyer doesn't mean you have the right one, because lawyers, and there's a lot of people out here that will take your money, right? Hire a competent attorney. 3, separate yourself from the business. And 4, I jumped ahead of myself. I kind of meshed 3 and 4. 4, insure yourself. Insure yourself. Insure your business, right? Business needs to have some type of liability insurance. People will sue for anything. It was a piece of glass in my water and I drank it and it cut my throat and I couldn't work. So I'm on the sick. It was water on the floor in the bathroom. I tripped and fall. Now I can't walk. I'm a sick. In America, we sue for anything, right? So you want to insure yourself. You want to have liability insurance on your business. So when I mentioned the directors and officers, that's also insurance, right? Your directors and officers want to be insured. And then depending on the type of business that you have, using competent attorneys, you want to have some things in place for you when it comes to contracts, right? So you want to protect yourselves, right? Outside of liability insurance, there are also ways to protect yourself when it comes to business utilizing life insurance, right? So a lot of businesses, if you work for a major corporation, more than likely all employees have term insurance. However, the CEO, the CFO, and other officers, executives higher up, more than likely they have some sort of key man policy or executive bonus plan, right? A key man policy is for a key man that is integral to a business, right? Losing Steve Jobs from Apple, Steve Jobs was integral to Apple, right? 99.9% sure they had some sort of life insurance policy on them. 99.9% sure they have some sort of life insurance on the current CEO, right? I met a woman who said that when doing business trips, her CEO and her CFO cannot fly on the same plane because if something were to happen, the company is like in a bad position, right? Not the word I was looking for, right? There are people that say mom, dad, and children should not fly on the same plane. Now, me and Rashada were talking about this. She was like, but if I'm on a separate plane and I lose my kids or I lose a husband and child, I don't know what I would do. But there are people that will tell you a whole family, husband, wife, children should not be on the same airplane. Or husband and wife should fly separately, right? Because if something happens, now the kids don't have either parent, right? So you want to insure yourself. You want to insure yourself, right? And then the fifth step to protect your small business is protect your files, right? So what was it? Target has had some breaches. I don't know if it was Equifax or Experian that had a breach, but we also want to protect our files, right? So I am Janicia Jonay, the wealth creator. I show people how to use other people's money to pay their mortgage, create cash flow, generate generational wealth, and protect their assets, right? So this live video was about protecting assets using Darius Cooks Williams as an example for today, right? One thing we do know is he was operating a credit repair business, and he happened to live in the state of Georgia. And in the state of Georgia, only attorneys and non-for-profits can run and do credit repair. And for a lot of reasons, I can understand why. But he may have thought that he was operating within the law because on his website, what I saw today was the business was in Houston, and it made it clear that it did not service Georgia clients. However, the business was told to cease and desist all operations and was fined, right? And was fined as well. So I'm definitely showing people how to protect their assets. So that's what this was about. Protecting your assets, being wise, understanding what doing business means, right? And I shared 5 tips for all on how to protect your small business. Protecting your bit. If you're baking cakes, you're selling food, you're selling lemonade, tea, things that people can ingest, you need liability insurance. You need some type of insurance. For myself in real estate, I have errors and omissions insurance, right? As a real estate agent, I have to have insurance. As a life insurance agent, I also have errors and omissions insurance because people sue. They'll come and say, Jamesia told me to buy that house. Jamesia didn't tell you to buy nothing. You saw the house, you liked the house, we toured the house, I helped you put an offer on the house, but it'll be like, so people will ask me, well, what area do you think I should live in? And, well, you can say, no, I can't. Because people, so Jamesia told me to buy this house over in Dawson, and now my property value went down. And then somebody would be like, oh, your real estate agent told you that? Yeah, she did. You should sue her. However, just in case, we all have to have errors and omissions insurance. There are so many rules in business, especially in Chicago. My business is moving to Park Forest, and they hardly have any rules in Chicago. They will have you sign a lease and shut your business down and fine you for operating in the wrong zone. I can see how he didn't know what he was doing. The first instinct isn't always to Google. Yeah, Chicago, definitely. The thing is, though, when doing business, right? It's our responsibility as the entrepreneur. If you are from Chicago like I am, I have been to City Hall, I have been to the Daily Center, I have been to the unemployment office, I have been to the Cook County Recorder of Deeds office, I have been to the tax assessor's office. Most of those people are just doing their job and getting a check, right? So if you apply for a lease for a dog grooming business, I'm just the clerk or whatever. Oh, okay. Right? It might not be my job to say, well, let me look up the address and see what the zoning laws are. And if this person can operate this business in this area. Does that make sense? However, the zoning laws are public information in Chicago. Not saying it like that, not coming down. This is just providing information. The zoning laws are public information. You can go find out the zoning, put in the address, it gives you a code, and then it tells you, you know what I'm saying? It tells you what type of business you can have in that area. And then I think you can apply for like a special use and all of this other stuff. But yeah, and some businesses are grandfathered in. So you may see a business in a community and say, well, this business is here already, so I'm going to open up a similar business. And it's like, no, they were grandfathered in. Or when we think about gentrification, the entire Bridgeport, right? So that's the area around Guaranteed Rate Field. What is it? White Sox Park, whatever, right? Has been rezoned residential. So when a business, the businesses there that exist are fine. But when those businesses sell, that business can be converted or torn down into a residential property because the entire Bridgeport community has been rezoned residential. So if you want to open up a business right now, Bridgeport is not the area to do it in because you're probably not going to get past that point because the entire area was rezoned residential. And I learned that driving by a place, of course, sale by owner, sign, and then calling and doing some research. And you know, the first mind might not be the Google. That's how my mind works. Everybody isn't like me. Trust me, I get it. But I'm like the Google queen. Like Google gonna tell me. And then Google doesn't know everything. So we do also have to do our due diligence. Now I feel like I need to Google living in Chicago and doing business in Forest Park. Too funny. You should be fine, but I know you're just like, you should be fine because it's the state of Illinois. Like, wait, right? So you probably have to get a business license in Park Forest, right, to do business or whatever. In Park Forest, that's too funny. Marcia said, my assumption is all his businesses are under the same LLC. That's what I'm thinking too. Only because the verbiage in the judgment said that above 701 must cease and desist all business, but then I'm like, what came first? Every business you own and every property should have its own LLC. I work with Fifth Group Realty. There's Blue Box Homes. There's Affordable Market. I can't even tell y'all how many businesses Candace and Carlos have, right? It's like, which business name are we using? What's going on, right? Every business, every property should have its own LLC. Brandy said, come through with errors and omission, girl. Because, as a real estate agent, it's not that I'm not trying to help people. Well, I want to live in a good neighborhood. You can give me some more information. Like if I ran one of the most riskiest businesses there is. My insurance was off the charts. Took me 2 years to get properly insured. Transporting children. That's how I met Brandy. My son used to use Livery of Love to get back and forth from school and daycare. I could only imagine, because you have drivers, right? So you have to have protection in place for the driver. Then you're driving kids around and they need to wear seatbelts. And what if one kid popped the other kid? Or it's a lot. Insurance, liability insurance, personal insurance, right? The number one asset that you need to protect is yourself. You should have life insurance. If you have insurance on your phone, your car, your home, your apartment, you should definitely have insurance on yourself, right? So I am Janicia Jone. Thank you for tuning in to Take Risk and Pay. A lesson from Darius Cooks Williams, using this as a teachable moment specifically for entrepreneurs, anybody who is thinking about becoming an entrepreneur. This is whether you have a product or a service-based business, right? You want to make sure that you're watching what you say. That was tip number 1, 5 tips to protect your small business. You want to hire a competent attorney. You want to separate yourself from your business. You want to insure yourself, and you want to protect the files, right? Some of us have access to clients' personal information. We want to make sure that that information is protected. We also want to understand doing business in a state. If you have a residence in the state, a bank account in a state, you hold a meeting in that state, you're doing business in that state. But then it makes sense as a business owner, if I travel to Georgia and I have a meeting, I can write that off on my taxes as a business expense because I conducted business where I was, right? Brandy Davis said the last thing I wanted was to become a case study, girl. But and you would think like there are other transportation businesses out there, and I haven't really heard anything crazy about them. So you wouldn't think that it would be that difficult, but getting insured, being insured is very important. Getting insured is sometimes hard. So when we're thinking about going into business, when we're researching the business and it's like, oh, I need a business plan and a marketing plan. Yeah, you also need to know the law, the requirements, any insurance that's needed. Even people that are having events, as I say this, I'm thinking about myself, even people that are doing events, luckily the homes or the places that we do our events at have insurance on them. But when you do events, you should have some type of insurance. If something happens, your name is attached, you can be sued, right? Now, for me, Janicia Jone owns nothing, right? I make no money. So I'm a little more protected. I'm not saying it's impenetrable, but I'm sorry, y'all. Brandy, you was the only legit. So it's people out here. So people are out here buying vans, put in like transportation, and we paying them to transport our kids. Lord have mercy. So I'm Janicia Jone. Don't want to hold you all too long. Like the video, love the video, share the video, comment, depending on where you're watching this. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Went on ahead and shared it with Facebook because I was having technical difficulties. However, going forward, These lives and different things will either be in my Facebook group or webinar style on my YouTube channel. They will require registration. Hopefully you found some value in this. If you did, leave me a comment, like, love, or share the video. I am Jamisi, as y'all know, the wealth creator. I show people how to use other people's money to pay their mortgage, create cash flow, and generate generational wealth. You all have an awesome rest of your Tuesday. I will.